Welcome back to Eat Sleep Nerd. In this video, we are reviewing Amazon's Fallout television series, specifically the first 3 episodes. So I am your dorky DJ, Corey Winter. Joining me for this discussion, we have my nerdy brother, Josh Winter, and our geeky friends, Jason Summer and Christian James. So, gentlemen, we have watched the first 3 episodes of this 8-episode first season of Amazon's Fallout TV series, based on the critically acclaimed video game series. So what are you guys thinking? Is it good?
I like it. I feel like I'm the only one that has an outside look, because I first played Fallout games a very long time ago, but I don't remember.
Well, I've never played a Fallout game.
Oh.
My only exposure to Fallout has been just watching Josh play them. So
I've played all the Fallout games.
there you go.
And I love them. Like those are pretty high up on my that's my kind of game.
Yeah.
It's big open world RPG, which I mean, like, this is rare because usually a lot of our games that are big open world games now have not always been. Fallout has always been a big open world RPG. And like that's very integral into its DNA. The idea of you can do anything, be anyone. And the show does a really good job with that.
Yeah, so for those that are not familiar with what Fallout is, reading the synopsis. In a future post-apocalyptic Los Angeles brought about by nuclear decimation, citizens must live in underground bunkers to protect themselves from radiation, mutants, and bandits. So this is based on a long-running, critically acclaimed video game series from Bethesda. Josh has been playing it for who knows how long. There have been, probably 6 mainline games.
Like it's decades.
Yeah. So like there was Fallout 1, 2, 3, 4. There was also Fallout New Vegas. There was Fallout 76. So it has been long running. It's from the same makers that made like the Elder Scrolls games, Starfield, stuff like that. So it is an RPG. It is it's kind of like a cyberpunk / sci-fi / western /
So the aesthetic behind it is one of the coolest things about it.
Yeah.
It takes place in an alternate history where after World War II, we really leaned into nuclear power, like hard, and we miniaturized it fast. And so it sprung technology forward hundreds of years. Like there's robots and things like that, but it all still has that 50s aesthetic to it.
A Cold War feel.
Yeah,
There's still
and
like a
it's
Cold War thing going on.
And it's so cool just to kind of force those 2 ideas to live in the same space. And then on top of that, it combines kind of that cheerful, over the top form of advertisement. You know, everyone's always smiling and it's always a cartoon and everything like that. Like, and you know, that's just kind of how we remember the 50s, whether or not that's particularly true. That's just how we picture it.
Yeah.
And it marries that with really horrifying sci-fi violence and gore and everything that would kind of come with it. And again, it does it at the same time. And the show captures that. Which to me was always going to be the make or break. Like if you can't nail that aesthetic, then it doesn't matter how good or bad it is, it's not going to feel like Fallout.
Yeah.
And they did. They absolutely nailed it. And then on top of that, it's a good story.
Yeah. For someone that's loosely aware of Fallout and the aesthetic and stuff, it felt like I was watching a Fallout video game. Like they did it very well. And if you've been keeping up with just the temp check on how people are receiving this TV show, there's arguments that it might be probably the best adaptation of a video game in live action.
Yeah.
Which is kind of saying a lot considering we had last year The Last of Us on HBO.
Yeah.
So, would you guys agree? Is it's possibly, or at least in the top 5 best adaptations from a video game to live action?
Oh, easily. For me, at least.
From what we've seen, 3 episodes.
Yeah, I have no basis on Fallout that much as Josh, but like as far as like The Last of Us, I don't know where you would split that line of like which one's better.
So my argument would be it's actually 2 very different things, because The Last of Us HBO
was a direct adaptation.
Yeah. Plus, they was also kind of cheating because The Last of Us video game was pretty cinematic.
True.
But with Fallout,
but see, that works both for it and against it, though.
Sure. Yeah.
to me, what they've done with Fallout, which is to set it in the same universe as the games,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the beauty of it, is every game, and now the show as well, follows a vault dweller from a different vault, because there's supposed to be dozens of these stretched across the US.
Right.
And so every time they have a new story, the last story you played or watched took place. It happened. And now we're doing something totally different with someone else that may or may not cross paths with things that have happened.
Okay, so I was actually curious
Um,
about that, just how this actually kind of tied in. So it actually is a whole
The
original
pro-
story so far.
The producers and Todd Howard, who runs Bethesda, have said that this runs concurrently with the games.
Wow. Okay.
So again, we haven't finished it yet. Who knows? There might be cameos or connections to the games. I know there was a headline about, well, does it contradict something in New Vegas? I haven't seen that yet. So
Mhm.
I don't know what that is because I didn't want spoilers.
Yeah.
So I didn't read it. But it was a big enough deal that all the people involved came out and said, no, it doesn't. So like they're very much trying to stick to the whole, this takes place in the games.
Mhm.
It's just not one of the people that you've followed before.
So Jason, we were watching this together.
Mhm.
You're in town. And you were you were calling out stuff that you recognized from the game. So how familiar with the Fallout games are you?
Okay, so I'm not very familiar with the games. What I did once when I was just killing time was I watched somebody do a playthrough of New Vegas.
Okay.
So I saw the gameplay, I saw the storyline. So what I saw is anything that I'm doing a comparison against would be against New Vegas.
Okay.
So I saw a lot of like cinematics or mechanics that were shown in the series that you'd see from in the game, like the slow motion shots
Mhm.
when you actually hit somebody in the game with a round. You'll see there's an it's ultra violent and ultra gory,
Yeah.
and that is carried over from the game into the series. Again, the juxtaposition of the violence and the post-apocalyptic like wasteland against the 50s kind of cheery thumbs up, like aha, it's a sunny shiny day and take your vitamin E to survive in the wastelands. It's all there. It very much feels like a Fallout part of the Fallout franchise.
Would you guys agree? Yet again, all of you, at least loosely to very familiar with the games, would you think someone not familiar with the games would enjoy this? Like someone that's not even a gamer?
So it's funny. So I was thinking, would my mom and dad like this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the honest. Like I don't know if I love it because it's really good or because it's an existing franchise that they haven't messed up.
Yeah.
Because I mean, those are both equally exciting. Like usually Hollywood adaptations are horrible and they ruin the thing you love. But
Uncharted.
yeah. and so I don't know. That I think I would have to wait to the end.
Yeah.
Because you're also in the first 3 episodes of anything, you're still getting into it, right?
Sure.
Like the first 3 episodes of anything are not as good as the later seasons and the later episodes because there's so much exposition, there's so much getting into everything. But I don't know, like it hits the ground running fairly well. Like it doesn't burn a lot of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I was about to say, like knowing my mother and how she stays on the Sci-Fi Channel a lot, and I walk into the living room and have to be like, "What are you watching? Like, what is this?" Like the first episode, she'd be like, "Cool, I'm in."
Yeah, I think that would, at least as long as you're a sci-fi fan,
Yeah,
it would probably be pretty good for you.
I think, you would still need to be a fan of the idea,
Yeah.
even if you're not familiar with the property.
right.
I think the one thing that I don't think is explained well, and probably the only reason why I'm catching it is because I know the game, is where all these monsters and mutants and whatever else came from right now. Like you've got this bear that's been mutated. You've got these this mutated creature that's swimming around, underwater. I don't think it's very clear that you've got this these mutations from a nuclear apocalypse. I don't know if that's clear or not yet. So I think the question would be like, what are these things that I'm watching? So I think that would be like probably the one thing that's not explained well so far to me.
I don't know. The doctor even had an entire conversation with the girl about how roaches have evolved because of all the fallout. You were on your phone.
Oh, God.
So the point, so to Josh's point that he's mentioned or that you've mentioned before is like, how often do you look at your phone while watching a show is like how much it's interesting you. So
I didn't look at my phone.
yeah, I looked at my phone a lot.
I mean, yeah, you can
Hmm.
also kind of think of it as like sense of like how advanced the world is and like how advanced like the fallout is that the fact that, you know, you get rage bears and monsters and things like
I was
that.
I was like, oh, this is like toxic waste and nuclear fallout, and that's why we have this weird mutated bear that we're fighting right now. Like, I got that, but you know, I don't know if that's because of the game or did they sufficiently put like enough stuff out in front of the cave to indicate that that's how that happened. So I don't know. You know, I mean that's my one complaint, honestly, about the story and whatnot.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's just go and talk about the more general things. So, how about just the quality of the show? So, like visual effects, stuff like that. It's got the Amazon budget.
Yeah.
It's like we had Josh. What are these costumes? The military outfits.
I mean, it's the T60, but it's power armor.
So,
Brotherhood of Seal.
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
So, like things like that, like them actually walking on that armor. Very rarely did it show the seams of it being CGI versus reality. Like you can kind of tell.
We discussed. We think it's probably a combination of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like probably waist up is probably realistic, but like everything below the waist, like when they're walking, maybe CGI. But like stuff like the mutated monsters and stuff, like
It looks good.
it looks really good.
Like they, especially when they knew it was going to be important,
Mhm.
it looks good.
And like when they're in the vaults in the first episode specifically,
Oh,
like
dude, set design's killer.
like it's doesn't look like it looked like they're actual sets.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they actually like
I'm
Yeah.
sure they were enhanced somehow.
sure.
For but like, yeah, your
It's good.
main set pieces,
Yeah.
look good. If it's CGI, it's really good CGI.
The desolation of Los Angeles, that whole area is just. I have an appreciation for desolate beauty, so I find it actually quite beautiful. But they've also made it look very realistic and believable.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about the acting. So we've had pretty much three main characters so far. Lucy, played by Ella Purnell, Maximus, played by Aaron Moten, and then obviously Cooper Howard, played by Walton Goggins.
Man, I love
Goggins.
Walton Goggins.
Yes, he is
like
fantastic.
just in everything. Walton
Yeah.
Goggins is amazing.
None of them like are a weak link. Like all
No.
very solid.
Um,
And that's kind of what I liked about the show so far is that I thought it was just going to be like Lucy centric.
Yeah.
Then like halfway through the first episode, it switched over to Maximus for a good bit. So like there's actually like two leads plus obviously Walter
They do like
Goggins.
chapters.
Yeah.
And they name the chapters after the character that you're
Yeah.
following.
And what were you going to say?
well, I was gonna say I don't much like Maximus, but I don't think that's the actor's fault. I think it's just a character that I find particularly annoying.
I'm
Um,
okay. That I do agree with that, but I
Yeah,
kind of
like
feel like it's
he's-
going to get somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm feel like redemption is coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, that might be an example of good acting because I find him annoying.
He's kind of spineless. He's kind of
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But he wants to not be.
right. Yeah, but
So-
he's not.
While being spineless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the potential is there.
And man, his poor nose.
He gets his
Yeah, just that his
just
nose
beat the
is-
snot out of his nose.
He's like the invincible of like this whole show.
It's just
Getting
every
beat up,
episode he
yeah.
just gets beat up.
Now there have been a couple places where we've had to really suspend reality. Like there was one time where one of the I guess the scientist was getting chased by a machine gun and it completely missed him while hitting everything around him.
And it wasn't even that far away.
I mean, it was like, okay, that
Yeah.
was just too much.
Yeah, it's designed to kill you, and
Yeah.
it didn't do its
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not a clever homage to the games or anything because those some bitches kill you hard.
It was. I think it was lazy for what compared to everything else that they were doing.
Well, it was also kind of like that little turret thing didn't really need to be there.
Well, like it didn't need to be there, but also like there were little things because it was an oddly bad sequence in an otherwise pretty great show.
Yeah.
That's why we're kind of harping on it. Like we're not just hung up on it. It felt weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, like small changes just in writing and pacing would have made it not as bad. What if he was halfway down the sidewalk before it came out? And then he only has to bolt around the corner and he's okay. Like,
I think it's where
It was
it
just
comes
weird.
in is like the little screen on it that said, please remain calm.
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like again, and that's hilarious.
Right.
But yeah, no, it was weird. It was definitely weird. But like also that might be the worst thing that's happened.
I mean,
on,
out of 3 episodes, that was like the one real miss.
just because it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Well, I've hit all of my points, at least for these first 3 episodes. I think once we finish the entire first season, which is unfortunate, they dropped this entire 8-episode season all at once the weekend we had our Huntsville Comic Expo. So we have not had time to watch the entire thing. I think we all wanted to. We just did not have time.
Could not.
So we wanted to squeeze out these first 3 episodes and talk about it as soon as possible. So hopefully at some point we can come back and actually finish out this first season, have a full discussion, because there actually is a confirmed second season coming. And hopefully a third and fourth and fifth and sixth. So any final thoughts before we get into scores?
No.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. So if you're not familiar with how we do things, we do a 1 to 5 scale. We each rate it individually, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. We're going to rate all 3 episodes together, so it's not individual episode scores. And then we're going to average all 4 scores together to give us the overall Eat Sleep Nerd score. So who is going first? I will go first. So
4.
I'm just going to come. No, I'm going to come right out and say 5 out of 5. I have no issues with it at all. I was thoroughly entertained. I thought everything across the board was great. The production value, the acting, the storytelling, the not giving me little nuggets of things to look forward to. Lots of questions I still have, but like I'm not pissed off that they haven't been answered yet. I have no complaints. I'm having a fun time. So I'm giving it 5 out of 5. Who's next?
4.
What? Okay. Explain yourself.
It's way too early to say 5 out of 5 for me. Even though it's a great show, love the games, love the acting. I just want to see a little bit more. I want to see how
So it could go up.
Yeah, it could go up.
Okay.
Could go down.
Could go down.
Could go down. Yeah. Same for me. It could go down. Jason.
I'm going to give it a 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
The turret thing really bothered me.
No, it's it was a good translation. The acting's good. It just didn't hold my interest a lot. Where I found myself more interested in looking up the actors that I thought that I recognized in the show.
You were doing a lot of that.
Yeah, like and I'm not gonna remember their names, so I'll just the guy that played Paul Atreides in the 1984 Dune plays her father. The guy that plays Bubba from Forrest Gump is the guy that dug up the ghoul.
Really?
Yes, really.
Yeah.
That was Bubba.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I recognize his voice right off the bat. So I actually was having more fun doing that and then kind of enjoying watching it with the guys. So if it gets more interesting, if I follow the storylines a little more closely, I'll bump it up. But right now it's like a 3.5.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Josh.
Five Pip Boys out of 5.
Yeah. Any?
Which I read was not a special effect. They built functioning Pip Boys.
That's cool.
That is really
Wow.
cool.
So like every time you see the screen on there, that was like actually
That's cool.
on there.
That's fun.
Love that detail.
Any expose on?
No, it's great.
All right,
I mean, they could always muck it up, but no, like it is exactly what I wanted out of a Fallout TV show. Like if that's how we're basing our scores, yeah, like I literally cannot think of anything I would have done differently or better, which is unusual for me. Normally my thoughts are, you should have just let me do it.
This is true. Go back and watch all of our reviews.
Yeah.
Like I will fix it.
Yeah, I can fix it. But no, I see nothing to fix so far. Like I said, Maximus is a little annoying, but I think that's literally his character arc.
Yeah.
So unless that literally just does not resolve, then I think it'll probably stay at a 5.
All right, so all those scores together, Josh with a 5, me with a 5, Christian with a 4, and Jason with a 3.5. We're at a 4.38 out of 5
Nice.
for the first 3 episodes. Yet again, it's an 8-episode first season. We have not watched all of it. So just real quick, looking at the Rotten Tomatoes, which we just like to do, the critics for the entire first season, they're at a 94%
Wow.
positive. So 94% of the critics have given it a positive rating. And the audience, an 88%. So 88% of the audience has given it a positive rating.
Interesting.
So, yeah, we're right there. Well, all right.
Okay.
Roll Tide.
So before long, we'll come back and try to do an entire first season review of this.
Yes.
Yes.
It won't be today.
But it will not be today. So, all of that said, thank you for coming and watching. Go to youtube.com/@EatSleepNerd. Click the subscribe button. Click the like button. Leave some comments. Let us know how you felt about the Fallout series so far. And Jason,
What? Eat, sleep, nerd.
take it easy, people.